Yes, everyone, welcome back to the Irish Hotspur. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys the predicted lineup for a match against Manchester United at home this Sunday. Last predicted lineup, I didn't do too well on in terms of my predictions. This one, I think I'll do a lot better on. So please smash the like button for me. Let me know in the comments below which selections you think I got right, which ones you think I'll get wrong, or even if you think I'll get all of them wrong. Do let me know in the comments below, please. We got a lot of players returning, so I got a lot more players to pick from, which means more opportunities, I guess, to be wrong. And Ange Postecoglou seemed to indicate that some of these guys that are returning will look like they could start straight away, now that they're back. And also, we've gotten a bit of a break with the in the past week, and some players definitely did need that break. Might even need a break even from our game against Man United. They'll even need some extra time off. So this is going to be my predicted lineup. And without further ado, let's get this going. We have Vicario in goals. That's my first prediction. I just think that, with what he said, that Vicario basically has pushed himself back to be available sooner, and he said he's good to go, literally his words, good to go. Does that mean then, he's just, clear and ready to start? I'm not too sure, but I'm just going to trust Ange Postecoglou's words. The one thing I wonder though is that, with a guy like Vicario, he's such an athletic goalkeeper, a guy that really can make some top level saves, can really fly across the net. Is he really truly, physically 100%? Because I think you would like to know if he is before you do end up rolling him out there. We don't want a guy like him, tweaking something or end up exaggerating the injury and then end up missing out on him earlier. We just want to learn from the Mickey Van de Ven sort of Romero lessons. I feel like, but according to Ange, he's ready to go, so I expect him to play. And off of the back of a Kinski mistake against Aston Villa, even though he did pretty well to keep us in it afterwards, maybe it is the time to take Kinski out of the firing line and put Vicario back in. At right back, this is definitely where you might think I'm going wrong here, but I've gone for Pedro Porro, unfortunately. The reason being is I just wonder with Destiny Udogie whether he is going to roll someone like Destiny Udogie straight back into the team as a starter. If he does, then, my other fullback prediction could be wrong here. And, has surprised us at times, with some of his selections. Maybe he'll look in to bring Udogie later into the game instead of actually starting him. It could also be the other way around, where actually he'd look to start Udogie, then look to bring him off, not play him the full 90 minutes. I'm not too sure which one Ange is going to go for. I just think he might just go with, guys that have been playing more recently. This is still a big game against a good opponent like Man United. And I wonder if he'll just go for Pedro Porro, go for, my other selection, which I might as well put up on screen, Jed Spence here at left back, who we've been seeing playing there. And then he'll look to bring on Desi Udogie later into the game to probably relieve someone like a Pedro Porro. And then he can move Jed Spence over to the right. Jed Spence has to play. I mean, he's just been pretty much our best defender in the side of late. So, he's going to be playing in the team no matter what. I just don't know whether it's going to be on the right or on the left. But if he starts Pedro Porro and Destiny Udogie, I think that would be a big howler from Ange Postecoglou because this guy, Jet Spence, has been one of his best players in that back line, for the past month or two. So Jet Spence has to start. I'm just not too sure where it will be. But let's go to right sided center back. It is going to be Kevin Donzo. I think he's been a bit of a mixed bag so far. I think he's looked maybe a little bit shaky in possession. I think he has that sort of occasionally heavy touch on him. But then also, especially against Aston Villa, he had some overcooked passes. Like he really did, put way too much heat on some of those. And if he didn't, some of these could have been actually some decent passes that could have led to some good moves. So I like the fact that he is attempting, good passes to try to get us forward. He's not definitely, a total sideways, safety type of center back on the ball that's super boring in possession. But when he has tried to maybe play a more dangerous pass, he has, I think, ended up overcooking a few of these, and especially against Aston Villa. I remember a few of them ending up going way over the player, just way, past them. And yeah, it's just putting a little too much power on some of these. But Kevin Donso, say a bit of a mixed bag so far, but I'm not really going to be too critical. Other than I would say maybe in possession hasn't necessarily been as smooth as you would like, and that was one of the things I mentioned in my scout report when we first brought him in. Was that was one of my worries maybe about him as a player. But Ben Davis, I think he's going to continue to roll with him and Postecoglou, and I think you have to because you also want to give Kevin Donzo someone that is experienced to play, next to and off of. And Archie Gray said that Ben Davis, is such a good talker, someone that is really good to play with. So figured you just by even Archie Gray's words, you have to go with Ben Davis as the left sided center back, which moves me on into midfield. And this is where I could get things wrong, but I wonder, with Bentancur, it's a difficult call here because I thought Bentancur deserves a lot of shame and honestly deserves a lot of criticism for giving up on one of those goals against Aston Villa. The second goal, I believe, just completely, completely unacceptable for me. And I wonder if Ange is going to drop him for that. If you watch that back as a manager, you look that you wonder if the guy is starting to give up on you or giving up on maybe the system or was just kind of giving up on the game in general. And that's not a good mentality to have, especially after what we were told. Bentancur maybe wants to have more of a leadership role within the dressing room and everything. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that if you want to have more of a leadership role. I will say this though. I do think that he was set up to fail in that game on some sort of tactical level, or he was set up to fail by the pressing that Bergvall and Kulusevski were doing in that first half. Villa were playing really easy triangles. It seemed like they were really prepared for what Bergvall and Kulusevski were doing. Lots of times when we were losing the ball, Kulu and Bergvall were immediately looking to win the ball back high up the pitch for us. They were pressing high. They were looking to sort of collapse right in on sort of the Villa players, not give them any sort of breathing room to play out. But Villa looked really prepared for that. They would just play two little quick 1-2s, complete a nice triangle, and then all of a sudden, they would have numbers running at Bentancur, running at our midfield. How many times did you see Yuri Tillemans or Morgan Rogers or other dangerous players, John McGinn, just coursing through the midfield, completely unchallenged, with no one even within sight close to them? Lots of times, I think that came in that first half because Bergvall and Kulusevski were getting caught way too high up the pitch trying to win the ball back for us. And then once Aston Villa, who, like I said, I think we're kind of prepared for that, would play around us and play through us, they had so many numbers running at Bentancur that I don't think Bentancur had any hope or any chance of being able to defend some of those transitions that Villa had through our midfield. Our midfield looks so open that I think if you're just left on your own like that, it can be very frustrating, it can be very alienating, and it can make you look bad. But I don't know if that was the case with Bentancur. And in fact, I actually, I'm sticking my neck out on the line here. I think Bentancur is a good midfielder. I think he's probably our best of the deeper lying midfielders that we have right now. So I'm just going to say this. I think he might have been hung out to dry tactically in this game and on a positional level. And I think Unai Emery did something, in terms of being able to break down through the middle and sort of create attacks through our midfield. He saw something to be able to play around us and play through us that it really, I think, exposed our system and sort of set up Bentancur to fail personally. That's just how I feel about it. Really welcome to disagree with me, though, in the comments. And like I said in the very, very beginning, I think Ange is well entitled to actually drop Bentancur just for the fact that he gave up on that second goal. They're completely unacceptable. Don't care if even you've been set up to fail on a tactical level. You just can't be doing that, especially if you want to call yourself a more of an experienced, player that wants to have some sort of leadership role. Just completely unacceptable for me. But that's my piece on Bentancur. Sorry for the monologue. Going to go over to center mid. Again, I'm not too sure, but I'm actually going to go for Pop Matasar. I just think that maybe with the fact that he's gotten some rest and just said that Pop Matasar has needed some rest. And, there's been a lot of criticism for the guy recently, Pop Matasar, probably because he hasn't been in great form. He has, at one point though, been one of our better players from the season. There was like maybe a good month, I believe, where you could put up Sar as one of the players for the month and was one of our more consistent players and put in some really good performances. And in the bigger games, it looks like Ange trusts him. He likes him for that up and down box to box type role. And he also tends to score goals, I think, in the bigger games, Pop Matasar. I'm just not too sure, which one he prefers if he is going to play Bentancur, right? I'm not too sure if he's even going to play Bentancur after what he did to him in the last game and after Bentancur gave up on him, right? Maybe if he doesn't play Bentancur, then he might just go with Basuma and Sar, which then leads me on to actually the disappointing factor, which is Archie Gray, right? Archie Gray, this is a manager prediction, of a predicted lineup. This isn't my, preferred lineup. This is a predicted lineup. I don't think Ange seems to trust Archie Gray as a midfielder yet, especially maybe for games like this one. He has had chances to play him there, and one of the big ones was that game against Liverpool, or sorry, not Liverpool, Everton. The team from Liverpool, but Everton, and he was very reluctant to do so. In fact, he was so reluctant that he sort of created some sort of hybrid center back role for Archie Gray for that game and didn't want to play him in midfield. So with all the chances that he might have had this season, to shift him in there and give him opportunities, maybe he tried it initially in the very, very beginning of the season. I remember Archie actually didn't do too well in some of the opportunities he's had in preseason, maybe to play through the midfield. But feels like the guy deserves it with how much he's done for Ange, and it just looks like, according to me, this is only my opinion, but from my judgment of Ange, it seems like he only prefers Archie Gray as kind of a guy that he knows he can rely on to sort of be that stopgap filling in, type of do the job, type of a role for him. If he needs a guy just to do a job at center back, Archie Gray seems to be his man. If he needs a guy to do a job at fullback, Archie Gray is his man. But in midfield, he's got a lot of options, and he seems to prefer those other options than Archie Gray at the moment. Whether you think that's logical, whether you think that's valid or not, I'm just doing what I think Ange Postecoglou will go with, and I don't think he's going to go for Archie Gray in midfield. So it's going to be a combination of either Sar and Bentancur, or it's going to be a combination of Sar and Basuma. My thing is I think he is going to go with Sar though in this team, just because he seems to like him in the bigger games, and he has said that he's needed a rest. I'm gone for James Madison. Actually, is the number 10 for this one. Only because I think we just need a new injection of creativity. We've looked so poor in the final third recently that whether you like Madison or not, I think we need a player like him. And even though I have criticized him on a number of times this season and last season, especially this season, and people that do listen to this channel would know that I've said a million times, I do think we play better and tend to play better version of Ange's system and just play a better version of quote unquote Ange ball when Madison is in the team alongside Kulusevski, whether that's Kulu playing on the right or that's Kulu playing in the midfield with Madison. I just think we tend to play a lot better football and tend to create better moves and are just a more creative team in general. And since we aren't necessarily a very clinical team and don't really put away a lot of chances with a real ruthless manner, I think it's more important that this team has the ability to create chances on a more regular basis so that, when the right one comes, we can put it away instead of just hoping that we take the ones that come to us few and far between, if you get what I'm trying to say. So I think we do tend to be a better team with Madison. I think we've definitely been crying out for some creativity in this side. So I've gone for Madison in the midfield. And he said that, he's pretty much ready to go. Whereas with Johnson, I think with Johnson, he seemed to indicate that maybe he might, sort of hold off on starting him for this game. That was only the vibe that I got though from some of the bits and pieces that Ange just put out about the injury situation. On the left wing, I've gone for Matisse Tell. I thought he looked pretty tacky, pretty smooth, despite having very little to work off of in his recent games. And times when he's received the ball, I thought he actually, looked pretty solid. I thought he was doing quite well. Like I said, despite having very little to play off of, I felt like there were very few runs being made. Didn't look like he had a lot of open players even to pass to. And I think he did quite well actually, when receiving the ball under pressure. And of course, scored a fantastic goal. And when he was given the chance through the middle, I just thought he looked a little bit more comfortable than Sonny did, and sort of moving around, sort of floating between those pockets of spaces between the midfield and and the defense, and also just maybe looking just more comfortable in those central positions. I just thought Matisse Tell looked better there, but I don't know if Ange is going to do it. Ange has just continued to persist with Sonny at striker, so that's what I've gone for here. Again, this is not what I would do. This is what I think Ange will do, and I don't know why he does it. I don't know why he continues to play Son through the middle. Perhaps it's just a way to try to get him into the team. Maybe he thinks he's very tired and can't play on the left, game in, game out. But for me, Sonny just doesn't look that comfortable playing through the middle in this system. He doesn't look comfortable dropping back. He doesn't look comfortable holding the ball up. Doesn't look comfortable, sort of like I said with Tell, kind of floating in those central areas, those pockets of space. Just doesn't know how to really do it, I think, to like others can. And missed a sitter, against Aston Villa. The guy looks so low on confidence, especially after maybe missing a sitter like that. I think if you want to get the best version of Sonny, or if you want to have the best chance of getting the best version of Sonny, got to play him in the position that he's most comfortable in, which is out on the wing and preferably the left wing. So ideally, I think you go for Son on the left, but Ange just so many times has frustrated us and has put him down the middle. So that's what I think he's going to do again, because he doesn't have many other options other than just playing Matisse Tell there. He could play Kulusevski, as a false nine through the middle. But again, he hasn't done much of that this season and has actually seemed to uh, revert back to playing Sonny down the middle instead of playing Kulusevski as like a false nine sort of central striker, which he tried in the preseason, but like I said, hasn't really leaned on that too much in the actual season. And Kulusevski, he's always going to be in the team, still for the time being, while we don't have a ton of players back. Odebear, he seemed to indicate wasn't going to start this game. Timo Werner isn't back yet. Mikey Moore, I don't think would start ahead of Kulusevski unless he truly, really needs a rest that badly. The guy's running on fumes right now. I think he does need a rest at some point, maybe from a game in general. But Kulu, I think you have to play him. He's tried his best to carry us through this tough period. I think he needs someone to work off of, though, that is creative, like a Madison in the team. But I think he'll start with Kulu. He's probably secretly needed a break more than anyone. So it'd be nice that, he perhaps take off, Kulu at some point for like an Odebear, for a Mikey Moore. If Johnson is available, maybe him. But I think he'll go with Kulusevski on the right. There's your predicted lineup, though, everybody. Let me know what you think of it. Happy to be wrong on some of these, but this is just only my opinion of what I think Ange will go with and some of the reasons why, and also just kind of putting in my opinions on some of these players and why they're playing there or why they shouldn't play there. Let me know, though, everybody. Smash the like button on your way out, and I will see you next time. Come on, you Spurs.